The following show is dedicated to Mia Park and Barbara Yang. The views expressed on the following show may not be those of the hosts, guests, or WSPN Skidmore Radio. Talk Saratoga is produced by Saratoga Broadcasting Incorporated and may not be reproduced in part or in whole unless expressed written approval is given. Now, here are the hosts of Talk Saratoga, Rick Thompson and a Saratoga All-Star.
Good morning and welcome to Talk Saratoga. I'm your host, Rick Thompson. You're listening to WSPN 91.1 FM on Skidmore Radio. And it's about 29 degrees outside, sunny. It's going to be a beautiful day. They're talking about a little rain. I just had our weather forecast by our mayor, John Safford, who's our special guest this morning. Good morning, John.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Okay.
All right.
I'm here.
You're here.
Yeah,
you're busy. I know it for a cold morning. And things are popping in Saratoga with the first quarter of the year over with already. Can you believe it?
Amazing.
It is.
Amazing.
I'll tell you, I was saying earlier in the music show that I have no recollection of 2024. It went by so fast that I don't know where time's going.
Yeah.
You know?
It just flies by.
It's, you can't stop it, but...
Sometimes it seems to go slow, and sometimes it seems to go fast.
Yeah, well, it could go by slow for me. I don't care. Anyway, we got a couple things to talk about. You were on about a month ago, and I wanted to have you back because I had some production problem here. But we were talking a little bit about the planning department software.
Yes.
That planning department's under your purview as mayor. And we talked about the commission form with the 5 separate commissioners running their own departments. But how's the software working out? We're
in the process of transitioning our data to the new system, and that's going really well.
Good.
It doesn't happen overnight, especially when you're coming from essentially a manual process. We have been using spreadsheets for the last couple of years, but to transition all that correctly into a new system does take, quite a bit of time, and then there's testing. But it's going along really well. I'm very excited about this.
That's good.
We will see the results of that this year. Excellent.
And that's kind of your, computer programming and updating.
Yes, that's
things is your.
Yeah, I owned a computer company for 30 years.
Right. So, you're kind of like in tune with updating and
how it goes,
bringing things into modern.
The thing that's exciting about this is there's a number of transitions you have to go through to do this, but this will eventually be a cloud-based, internet-based system that will allow our citizens to access the process much more quickly and easily, and it's going to solve a lot of problems that we currently have with getting back to people, letting people know where they are. They're going to be able to make application online.
Okay.
And it will have an element to it. I'm a little reluctant to use the word AI, but it will have an element that will be able to advise them as to whether they're completing it properly. And,
that's good.
Yeah,
good.
That's a huge issue right now.
Yeah,
so it's going to be a huge improvement.
Yeah, but a lot of the processes are confusing to the layperson. So if you've got a self-check in there that'll help them.
Right. The main problem one of the problems we have right now, because it takes so long sometimes for an application to get picked up and reviewed, it can be a number of weeks, and then people find out that they have to add something additional, and it just slows the process down. And that's, if there's one thing that I'm hoping to see this year, is an improvement in that process.
Well, that's good. Hey, anything helps,
Well, it'll make a huge difference.
Well, yeah. especially for a city like Saratoga, who's constantly.
Constantly. I mean, it's slow, right? During the wintertime, it slows down a little bit, but now is when it starts picking up. And,
I had a friend of mine the other day say, "What is going on in Saratoga?" And I said, "Why?" And they said, "They're building skyscrapers now."
Oh, yeah.
And I said, "Oh, dear."
Well, there's some strict limitations to height.
There is.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
All right. Well, I think the one they were referring to was the old finger paint building there.
Oh, yes.
It's getting,
yes.
They said, "Boy, that's going to be huge." I said, "Yeah, well,
if you've seen the renditions of it, it's also going to be really, really beautiful."
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. I remember when I moved to Saratoga, I mean, I haven't been here, well, I guess it has been a long time now, but when I got married back in 86, in 84, we moved up here in 86 because my wife is from Saratoga, and the tallest building that came in after I moved here was the Wise Insurance Building.
Oh,
and people, oh my God, look at the size of that building. It's blocking out the sun on Division Street. And,
I mean, that's all according to the plan that's been laid out for a long time. I mean, when the city grows, typically it grows to height downtown. Right. It's the only way to make something, quote unquote, affordable.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, there's no space to grow sideways, so you have to grow up, and that's the problem.
There are a number of new projects coming in, particularly on Caroline Street.
Okay.
Will be of interest to people because Caroline Street is relatively narrow, so the buildings will look even higher.
Okay.
There. I mean, that's something that the DRB is struggling with right now as to how to advise with regard to height.
It has to be a hard balance, I think, I mean, from my point of view, Saratoga lost its city in the country feel. And I think there's a hard balance to try and keep that and grow as a city with the natural progression. I mean, when you become a popular city and people move here, they want things. A lot of times they want things from where they came from. Like I remember discussing with a fella back in the early 2000s. I said, "You guys are coming up here making this little New York City." And he goes, "That's why we're moving up here." He said, "It's a beautiful city and we can bring the building and the culture up." But anyway, I mean, that's how life is. You can't stop it.
I mean, city in the country is still something I think we hold pretty dearly here. The idea of having a green space around the downtown. Yeah. And trees. We have a lot of trees. We're planting more every year.
I know. And that's
They're
good.
coming up, next week?
Oh, yeah?
We'll be out digging some new trees.
For Arbor Day?
Probably associated with that. But the Saratoga yearly tree planting.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's... I'd have to look in my book, but it's coming up pretty soon.
Well, I've got one to take down in the Woodlawn Avenue parking lot so we can expand that opening, which I know is on the books, and that's not in your department, but, just chit-chat about that for a couple minutes later on. You mentioned about Caroline Street being,
There's a couple of hotels going in.
Yeah. I see there was a public hearing the other day for bar closings.
Yes.
And I honestly believe that, 4 o'clock is kind of late. When I was younger, I didn't, but I do now. And I remember my old Italian grandfather telling me when I got a job at 15 as a busboy at the Holiday Inn, and when I turned 16 and we started going out a little bit, he said, "Nothing good comes from being out after 12 o'clock.
I hear that often.
I know. And so I said, "Hey, Grandpa, don't worry about it, Yeah. But they are trying to change hours.
Well, obviously, this has been a topic here for probably 10 years or longer.
Oh, longer, probably, yeah.
Particularly in, the downtown bars, This is a decision, though, that's countywide. It's not just New York. It's not just our city.
Oh, no, and the county is the one that dictates, basically.
Well, the county is the
right?
one that makes the appeal to the liquor authority.
Right.
But bar closing time is a county function. So there's a little feedback going on. There's a public hearing, I think, coming up this week at the county for people
Oh, at
who
the
want
county.
to,
Okay.
at the Law and Order or Law and Finance
Committee.
committee meeting. And so if people want to speak about this, they'll be able to do that.
Yeah, I know there was kind of like I know I had when Matt was on, and then we had Wendy Libertor on last week. They were talking about kind of like a staggered closing time that Saratoga might be looking at.
Well, Saratoga is suggesting that.
Right.
There's some pushback from some of the other areas that
the towns.
they'd like it to be consistent. But right now it looks like, I don't have the exact dates in front, but the summertime will be 3.
3 o'clock, yeah, and then
wintertime 2.
New Year's Eve, 4 o'clock,
4.
yeah.
Right.
And I mean, I don't know. And then there was, I know some of the pushback was from the small towns and the villages. The summertime is when they're slow because everybody's in Saratoga, and the wintertime they'd like to stay open late till 4 because that's when they're busy.
That's right.
So it's like you can't please everybody.
Yeah, there's not that many bars, in some of the other areas here, but
yeah,
the ones that do like to stay open later in the wintertime.
Right. And, when you stop and look at the whole picture, there's a lot of the bars do close between 2 and 3.
They do now.
There's
yes,
a bunch of them open until 4, but
not that many.
Most of them do.
Yeah,
close.
not that many are open that late anymore.
No,
Right.
it's not like it used to be.
Yeah, in Saratoga.
Oh well.
So at any rate, that is something that will be decided in the next month or so.
Okay. Well, we'll see what happens then.
Yeah.
If I had to place a bet, and I don't bet, but if I had to place a bet, I would say that it's probably going to stay 4 o'clock. I don't know why, but that's just.
We'll see.
Then we'll see what happens.
It's definitely up to the county, though.
Oh, most definitely, yeah. And in a way, I don't see why that should be. I think each municipality should be able to set their own and check it through the county. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because I know the county liquor authority.
Why it's like that, but
I don't know.
That would make logic.
Yeah,
but
it's like that all over. Even Fulton County, where I grew up, the county liquor authority rule, set the time in the county. But I don't know. I just think each municipality should be able to decide what they want to do on their own.
Yeah, you would think so.
They know what's best for them. Yeah. It's got to be a drain on our police department.
Yeah, it definitely is. There's a lot of overtime associated with that.
So, all right. Well, one of the things, I'm throwing out, and I know, again, this isn't under your department, it's under Public Works, is the opening of the entrance to the Woodlawn Avenue parking garage. And it's the parking lot before you get to the parking garage. So, because there's a couple garages on Woodlawn. But I know we got the city got a $50,000. I wish I did. Got a $50,000 grant last year to have that done, and I know it was on the schedule. But the city has so much going on. They just can't get to everything all in one time. And I know you had talked.
Yeah, I don't know anybody who doesn't think that's a great idea.
Yeah,
it's just a matter of getting to it, and according to to the business manager, that is on the books to do. Good. So I'll keep pressing for you.
I know you will. And yeah, I've been yelling about this since they built the garage. But probably I'm going to get steamrolled over someday because I keep talking about it. But I'm glad Matt did get the grant for this to help the city open it up. It saves the city a little bit of money. And our supervisor's hard at work.
Yeah, well, it's been kind of a confusing year for Public Works.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, with the different commissioners.
Yeah. We were talking about that with Jason
Leaving and then Hank
and
stepping
then-
in, and now you have Chuck.
and Chuck, yeah, and he seems to be doing a good job.
Well, I think,
mean,
I was certainly not unhappy with Hank.
Yeah.
But I think that Chuck is going to be excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. He already showed that at the last meeting. He's just so knowledgeable with regard to,
The duties.
housing and the infrastructure of the city and all that.
Sure. Well, that's good.
Yeah,
That's
no,
good.
he'll be great.
We still have the Community Development Block Grant Commission,
Yes,
correct?
we do. Yeah.
And we
In
still
fact,
get
we just
money.
awarded those.
Okay. Yeah, I know.
Last meeting.
We still get money from the federal
We're in the
government.
process of awarding them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I mean, the list is so long because when we were talking before the show, I was on the commission for a while, and it's sad because you get all the requests come in, and there's only so much you can do,
Yeah.
and you don't get that much money to dole out from the federal government either. So,
Right.
but I think the city does get some. I think Public Works gets some to redo. Well, back when I was on areas that underserved areas, maybe like do sidewalks.
That's
or,
what it's for.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it a lot of times it goes to not-for-profits.
Correct.
But the difficulty is because it's limited to our city, the funds have to be spent in the city.
Right.
And a lot of our not-for-profits now are countywide. So we have to be very careful that the money that's given to them be used in the city.
Okay.
Yeah.
It can still be given to the organization, but the money has to be spent in
In the city.
Saratoga Springs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that makes the accounting for it a little difficult.
Yeah, it
And the
does.
administration of it. So that is one of the difficulties with some of the not-for-profits simply because they've expanded, for the whole county.
Yeah. Yeah, that's because everything was based in Saratoga before.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, everything. Well, now things are changing.
Yeah.
For sure, as we've talked about.
That's right.
Right.
Well, I mean, they serve, the nonprofit serves such a large area,
Yeah.
But whatever. House rental. We got that coming up probably strong
Short-term
again.
rental?
Short-term
Yeah.
rental.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is kind of like the season that it probably is at its height.
Well, and a lot of people are nervous. Anyone who's listening who does rent their homes are concerned about when these regulations that we're trying to implement, will take effect. And at the last, again, this is Commissioner Moran who's kind of heading this up.
Mm-hmm.
But to assure everyone, just go about your normal business. Nothing will happen. This is going to be kind of implemented over the year. We're going to have a lot of forgiveness in it, so that no one should be nervous about it.
Okay.
And, but eventually, as this develops, there will be a fire inspection at the homes, and there will be a registration. The thing we're going through right now is whether that registration will be at the county, which is what the new mandate looks like it's going to require, and how we work with the county to develop that registration. Right now, the main thing we're looking at is, with our tradition of renting homes, where people rent their own homes,
Yeah.
we're hearing numbers of 1,400 short-term rentals in the city, which is huge.
Yeah, it is.
But the question is how much, how many of those are just standard track rentals of
Right.
people's homes, or how many are people in business?
Right, doing
basically,
business as
yeah.
renting,
Right.
buying homes, houses, and then
Right,
renting
and just
them out
renting
as
the
bed and
short term and
breakfast,
not
yeah.
caring about their neighbors. That's a
Right.
huge issue for us. So we need to get those numbers together first, and then we'll start adjusting this.
Devise a plan. Yeah, the ones that rent their homes out for track season, I mean, that's been going on since the track was
Forever.
here.
Actually,
probably.
if they rent for over 30 days, it's not even considered short term.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
a lot of people rent for the whole season,
Right.
which now is going to be a lot longer.
Oh, yeah, 50 day
A lot
meet.
of people don't know.
4th of July.
I don't know about that, but
Fourth
it's
of
only
July
for the,
week.
you
I know. It's
another
hopefully it's
couple
only for
years.
this year. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we're back to. But even a regular meet, it's 40 days. So, you know, but they could take out the 2 dark days, so to make it less. But yeah, it's. I mean, I think it's gotten to be a problem all over, though, not just Saratoga. Saratoga was unique because we've done it
Right.
for over 100 years
Right,
because of the
homes.
track,
Right.
renting your home
So
out
we have
for the
some
track.
unique
But-
legislation on the books, you know, to try and make that.
Make it
palatable,
comfortable. Still,
right.
yeah.
So, but that's actually impeding some of the things that we put on the books many years ago. Have been impeding our ability to work with, you know, with the short-term rental companies.
Okay.
I mean, it's a little complicated to explain right now, but you know, we're working through that.
Oh, I know. No, it is a very complicated issue. I mean, you have homes in your area, and I have 1 or 2 in our
Yeah, I have 2 right across
area.
the
Yeah,
street.
we have 2 in ours, and you know, most of the time it's okay. There's quite a few times though that
Well, a lot of the
it
year
gets a
there's
little-
nobody there.
Right.
That's one of the complaints.
Nobody's
that they're empty houses.
They're empty houses. Yeah,
You know.
I know. Well, I know the one in back of me put all kinds of. I mean, when nobody was there, it was dark. You couldn't tell whatever. Now they got lights in the back. They got lights flashing on the outside, and so it's like, you know, they want people to think there's someone in there all the time. You know, so
right.
yeah. So anyway, but well, that's good. I mean, something has to be done, and you don't want to hurt the locals.
Right. I mean,
that
mean,
did that. So
yeah, we don't want to hurt local business.
No.
We don't, you know. I mean, it's a, you know, there's a balance that has to be struck here. We have to
Sure.
find the right balance that works for everybody, or as close to as possible.
yeah.
You know.
Hey, you know, we got to keep everybody happy.
Well, there's no way to keep everybody happy.
No,
but,
there
you
isn't.
know,
But if you get 51% of the
well, you
people
know,
happy, you're okay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a struggle.
Yeah. Hey, listen, you're listening to WSPN 91.1 FM Skidmore Radio. The phone number here is 518-580-5783. And you're listening to Talk Saratoga. I'm your host, Rick Thompson, and we're here with John Safford, who's the mayor of Saratoga Springs. And I was going to save this to the end, but this is an election year.
Yes.
And you are running for election again, I hope.
Yes, I am.
You are, yes.
Yes, I'm going to run. I think I was looking at the Saratoga this morning. I guess our slate now is official. Because,
Is all set?
Yeah.
Good. The whole slate?
No, we still, yes, the slate, yes.
Okay, because
Yes.
I know the supervisor, they were going to announce who was running along with Matt Veach.
Yes, that's not settled yet.
Okay, that's not. All right. But I know they said they have someone in mind that
Yes,
that should be
we're talking
running.
to some people.
Excellent. That's good. I think over the years, I think Matt has been one of the most constant
He has.
voices. You know, as a young guy, he's so knowledgeable about Saratoga.
There's no question about it.
You know, and the history of Saratoga, the history of how politics works in Saratoga. He's done so much for the city.
Yeah.
On the county board, and so I'm looking forward for him to get back in again.
Yeah, well, he's vice chair. I mean, that is huge for the city.
It is.
Huge.
Yeah.
I can't say how important that is for us.
Well, that's good, and you know, you yourself, I know you're going to be working hard, but you've done a great job, and I have to say this as a friend. I mean, you've done a great job in getting City Hall back on an even keel. There was a rocky road there for a couple of years, And I know you were on the show during that time, and even before when you were running for supervisor and things. And I was talking with somebody yesterday who moved to the area probably 4 years ago, and I got talking about you, and he said, "What's the best thing that you think that he's done for the city?" And I said, "Well, he's got a great background in business and in computer technology and managing, properties." I said, "But he's always calm." I said, "I don't," and all the time I've known him, I don't think I've ever seen him get overly enthusiastic or argumentative about anything. And I said, he's brought such a good mentality back to the council meetings where everything runs smooth. He keeps order. And
keeping order in the meetings has been huge.
Yeah.
It was challenging at first because it had been so loose.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's and yes. So I mean that's what I ran at.
Yeah.
The civility thing, but it's really that translates directly into City Hall, and when it translates directly into City Hall, then the employees find it easier to treat the citizens better and quicker and more efficiently. So it's not just the meeting; it has a calming effect on on the entire City Hall.
Well, yeah, and I think one of the things, and we talk about this all the time, or I do anyway. I think people get tired of me talking about it. Our form of government has 5 separate departments, and sometimes they don't interact well with each other. Right. So when you don't have a good relationship going on at the council, and that translates down, like you had said, down the line into the departments. If they don't get along with each other, then you've got problems, and then that reflects on the citizens' involvement with it. So that's, you've brought some of that back to...
it takes a while to change the ship,
Yeah.
But I think we've been doing a pretty good job of that.
Yep, you have.
And it's partly, I'm not, I managed homeowners associations for almost 25 years here, and you need to be calm.
Yeah,
I know, and you need to be logical, and you can't react. And so I kind of learned that managing homeowners associations. So part of that, and it's just an age thing too. I'm just
yeah, but I mean, it takes a certain type of person though to be that way, because I know a lot of people lose their cool. Either under pressure or when you've got other people bickering with each other, you tend to lose it. But I mean, you're unique that way. I feel that you don't get yourself into that. You remain on the outside and stay calm. Try to, keep things down. And
I mean, I do that on purpose.
Yeah.
And some people don't. Some people think I should be a lot more
forceful or crass.
But under the circumstances of this, particularly this commission form of government, where the mayor really is just another equal partner in the 5, in the 5 areas, and so cooperation is much more important than power broking.
Sure.
The only place really that you do have any kind of power, quote unquote, again, is the chairman, but calmness is important to that meeting. Yeah, to get through.
Oh yeah, I mean, things can get away easily.
You get some people at making comments, and again, it's taken a while to have everybody just be quiet during that time and not react.
Sure.
And so now what we do is we wait until everyone's done speaking, and then the commissioners can respond.
Can respond. And I think that's how it always was up to a point. There seemed to be a time in history, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, 12 years ago, where the commissioners started interacting too much with the open time comment period when citizens can get up and talk for 2 minutes.
It's very hard not to.
Oh, I know.
Oftentimes someone will come up and challenge you or question, and that's why we try to make it clear at the beginning that it's not a dialogue.
Right.
And to focus on that speaker. And sometimes the speakers, and people don't understand why we let them speak so freely sometimes, but we sort of have to. They pretty much can say whatever they want. We try to discourage, profanity and things of that nature. Even that we can't legislate.
Right.
But we discourage it. But people have an opportunity to freely speak there. But we have to make the rule clear that we're not there to respond to that.
Sure.
And that's hard for some people. They get there and they think it's a question and answer type
Right.
thing.
The time for that is to see you alone.
Yes.
I mean, make an
Yes.
appointment with you,
Yes.
or say, can I stop in the office
Yes.
to talk to you about something?
And I'm
then
very
they
open
can have
to
a
that.
dialogue. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're very open. But I think, I know when I was more involved because of charter change, I used to go to the meetings. It was a kind of an unwritten rule that you never addressed a commissioner. You may have had your question directed at them, but you never addressed them personally because you didn't get into a dialogue.
Right.
You had your
that
2
rule
minutes.
is hard to, it's hard to enforce.
Oh, it's hard to enforce now. And once it got away from that and it got all, arguing and yelling and getting back and forth, it's kind of hard to rein that back in. But you did it.
It's taken a while, but we have that, I think, pretty well understood.
Under control now, yeah. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
And that's one of the best things. I don't know.
That and safety. Our police department was, and of course this is Commissioner Cole's doing, and Dan's Charlton's work there, but the police department is in good shape now. Good training, good people.
Back up the numbers.
Yeah. Good attitude. Our police department is really good. So, therefore, their reaction and interaction with the community is also good. We have 2 police officers now that walk downtown, plus a social worker.
Oh, neat.
Did you know? I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, the social worker to see how we have a peer who can talk to some of the people who are homeless on the street.
Okay. Well, that's
We've had
good.
some good success with that, by the way. Where some people who were on the street now are no longer. They're getting services. Some have even gotten into home.
Oh, that's neat. That's neat.
So we're doing good there.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Leadership. That's what counts.
That's right.
If you have good leadership, things get done. And if you don't, you're just putting out fires and
No, it's
not
right.
addressing.
We still have our days, but
Oh yeah. Well, hey, it wouldn't be politics if you didn't.
but it's going good.
Well, that's good. Well, you're doing a great job, John. I want to talk a little bit about parking fees because I know we're coming up to the time of year. I think that are they going to be instituted again?
It's something that we're discussing now rather intensely. As you know, Chuck kind of ran on parking fees came out of Public Works.
Right,
and
Department of Public Works.
Chuck kind of ran on that, but now he's realizing that those fees were included in our budget this year. And to change a budget in the middle of the year like this is very difficult. So we're having that discussion. I've had a lot of discussions with the downtown business people who feel it really affects their business.
Oh yeah.
And the question that I've been asking them is, we expect that to be close to $500,000 in revenue if we do it. And my question to the business community is, if we don't do it, will your increase in, because they feel that they lose business, would that increase in business make up in sales tax what we would generate? It's just a practical question. And probably the answer is no. So it's a complicated question right now for us.
Well,
but it looks like we probably will be doing it. Yeah.
I have friends I used to meet for breakfast after the radio show. They'd come up from Balsam Spa or up north, South Glens Falls. We'd meet at Compton's for breakfast, and they won't come to Saratoga anymore because they have to pay $4 to have breakfast at Compton's. And
well, that's assuming they can't park on the street.
Well, yeah, and usually Saturdays it's very tough. I mean,
Saturdays, yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, when I used to leave here, I mean, before I had my back surgery, which I'll probably start getting down there again, you girls. I would be okay finding a parking spot, but in the lot there were few, quarter after 9. I mean, during the week, forget it. But Saturday mornings it fills up. And by the
that's
time,
true. And that parking lot right behind is
behind
paid.
Compton,
yeah.
And so both times I met him inside and we were talking, and they had to use their credit card in the to get in. And I said, look, they were saying, and I don't mind coming down for breakfast, but can we meet in Balsam Spa or South Glens Falls?
I've heard that. I think it's real.
Yeah. Well, I was having my one friend a couple times come in. I said, look, I'll give you the $4. I don't want you to meet me for breakfast and then have to pay to have breakfast with me. I mean, I wouldn't pay to have breakfast with you.
Right. Yeah.
But just, I mean, if I don't know what the legislation is going to be. We talked about the short-term rental for businesses that buy homes and rent them, but I don't know if there's going to be like hotels that charge the bed tax. If they,
that's an argument,
because that could make up some of the income, maybe with the additional sales tax.
Well,
equal that.
We discussed that. I mean, the other thing is that it was rolled out so poorly and was confusing for a lot of people as to what was going to be involved. And, with regard to, people didn't know because the way it was presented at first, it was like there were going to be meters on the street almost, and, which is never going to happen here.
Right.
And then it was to the garages, and, so it was very confusing to people. And that was that was very bad. So, again, it's something that we're discussing.
Yeah. I always had a thing. I told you I had Wendy Liberatore on from Times Union last week, and we got talking about that. And I said, I have these stupid ideas that come in my head when things happen, and 99% of the time they're not, When they built the parking garage for the city center, and I said, it would be neat if they had a van that could take, if seniors wanted to park there, they'd have to pay, but could take them up to Broadway. So in the wintertime, they didn't have to walk up the hill and they could shop on Broadway, and they could have it come every half hour or whatever.
Just bring it back, yeah.
And I don't know. It's no matter how many parking garages or how many parking lots we put in Saratoga, there's always a parking problem.
Yeah,
I don't understand that, but it always is. I mean, you can build a 300-car garage and you still have a parking problem.
Yeah, I mean, that's true everywhere.
Yeah,
that's true everywhere.
Yeah,
parking is a problem. But so we're looking at how best to serve the public yet serve our budget too.
Right, right. Well, I mean, we always had a good, strong business sales tax revenue hotel.
For me, I'm very sympathetic to the downtown business people. They're business people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're the heart and soul of the city. when people come, they love to see those, but
Oh, definitely. They like to see people
They have
come.
to do well in order to stay there.
Well, I mean, I always felt bad because, I mean, rent is always a thing, but downtown Saratoga, the rents are high.
Yes.
And, you still have all the overhead that any other business would have. So you've got to make that up. And when you get a dent in that because of an external thing like paid parking or...
if the paid parking is that, I mean...
Yeah.
There is that question.
Right.
But what you say, I've heard before, that people saying, yeah, I'm not going to, have to pay. Of course, if the 2-hour limit is enforced downtown,
Right.
cars are moving around.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways to look at approaching this.
Sure.
But anyway, we're talking about it. It's definitely not something we're just assuming we're going to do.
It's a complicated thing.
Yeah.
I mean, especially now that it's in the budget for this year. I mean, if you hadn't planned it in there, then that'd be different, And, all right. Well, again, you're listening to WSPN 91.1 FM, and we're here at Skidmore Studios. Phone number 518-580-5783, and we're here with Mayor John Safford of Saratoga Springs. And we're talking about a bunch of things going on in the city and, things coming up. If you have anything you want to call in and ask John, please do so. I was physical therapy the other day, and I don't listen to the news much anymore. There's too much baloney. But one of the PTs said, "Hey, Rick, what did you hear about Ferris wheel at Naira,
the track? Yeah,
at the track.
Yeah, I guess they're going to do it.
They are going to do it.
Looking for it. Yeah, well,
Okay.
there's a bid out for it.
Oh, there is.
Yeah, there's so if they get someone to say, I guess they're going to try and do that.
No, this is just for the 4th of July, or is it
Maybe
for the whole meet?
I really don't know. I
Yeah.
haven't seen their RFP.
Okay. Now she thought it was just for the 4th of July week because that's we inherited that this year from Belmont. So the track will be open for the week of the 4th, closes on the 6th of July,
Right.
and then our 40-day meet opens on the 10th of July.
But in between, there's the Stars and Stripes.
That's the 4th of July, yeah.
Or the 4th, yes.
Yeah,
Okay, so
that's-
there's Belmont, 4th of July, right.
4th of
right.
July to Stars and Stripes, and then our meet. There's a 4-day window there after the 4th of July week and our opening week. So it's going to be horse racing from June until September. But yeah, it's a long time. But,
Yeah, I mean, yes.
well, once Belmont gets open, I think they're a target for next year. Although, I mean, how
I think there's a good
construction
chance
goes.
that they'll be back another year.
Yeah. Oh, in 26?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say construction. They give you a time.
Yeah, it takes,
forget it.
especially in New York City.
Yeah, I know it.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be good. Maybe we'll go on a Ferris wheel, John.
Yeah, there you go. We'll take a Ferris wheel.
Yeah, really. So we got parking fees and the parking lot. Yeah. What else is going on in City Hall that you want to bring up? Anything?
Well, the main thing is, my background in computing has been frustrated by our lack of coordination of our databases. You did mention, I guess we haven't talked about it yet, but when you and I were talking earlier, we were talking about the FOIL process. Mm-hmm. And the FOIL process is obviously, again, a very frustrating thing for a lot of people. But one of the main problems that we've had with the FOIL process is the fact that we have 5 different repositories of data, often in paper form, which makes it extremely difficult to, if someone requests something that affects all of these areas, it's like, really difficult to try to do it right. So from the very beginning, at least starting with the short-term rental, one of the reasons that I've been doing my best to work with Commissioner Moran's office is they're the depository of a lot of the data, and we're developing new data all the time for the short-term rentals. So the FOIL process, we had a kind of a difficult situation when our FOIL officer left with just a short notice, and our office had to jump in and actually try to keep it going. But we also learned a lot about the difficulties that we have. So we're working very hard now to consolidate a lot of that data. And it coordinates perfectly with our, with our new software for the building department. So I think that within this year, you will see a lot better data sources in Saratoga Springs.
Right.
A lot more consolidated,
more streamlined,
a lot more streamlining, more access to it by putting it out on the cloud. We're working hard to pull all that stuff together, and I think you'll see a huge. That's a huge effort on my part,
sure,
on my office's part.
Well, and your background, I mean, probably needed to be done years ago, but no one took the initiative to get it going.
Yes,
I mean, everybody's. I think you have to get, whether you like it or not, you have to get into the technology now. I mean, to be.
Well, I mean, the IT department is under finance, and over the years you haven't had elected officials who knew much about either finance or IT.
Right.
So we're making some good progress there.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. And
it's one of the reasons I'm running again. I want to make sure that that gets done.
That gets done. Yeah. That'll be a huge help to city residents.
It'll make, for the going into the future, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. A sore subject again for a lot of people, but charter change.
Charter change. Well, there is frustration with the, we were discussing some of that with
we always do. I mean,
with the commission form of government. Certainly, some of the things we're doing now are going to improve that. I'm working on a charter change commission for this year. I'm working on getting people for that, and you will see that come into play here in the next couple of months. And you can't tell the Charter Commission what to think or do.
Oh, no.
But we're going to lay out a plan that hopefully we may be able to implement some ideas that they might have just at the committee, or just at the council meeting, and start to do some improvements in contracts, for example. Or right now, if I'm not available and the Commissioner of Finance isn't available, there's no clear instruction as to who next would be in line.
Right.
To run a meeting, for example. I mean, they're small things, but having them clarified, even under the current commission form of government, will make things better. So we're kind of working with what we have to see what we can do. I know that you're...
I'm for total decimation of this commission form of government. Again.
Yeah,
there's two left in the state, and we happen to be neighbors, Mechanicville and Saratoga.
Yeah, Mechanicville went to 4 years too.
Yeah, well, I think a 2-year term is insane. You can't get anything done in 2 years without having to run for re-election after 1 year, and you've got a new person has a learning curve of at least 6 months.
Or longer.
But I mean, I know you know my feelings about this form of government. I think it should be dismantled, and a new form, and either a strong mayor or a city manager form come in. I don't see how 5 separate silos. I've never. I think the growth of Saratoga is more indicative of how strong our downtown business association and our Discover Saratoga and our city center is the form of government, I don't think played a huge part in that. There may have been certain departments and certain people that did, but this form of government is so confusing. But I'll tell you what, I don't think people even know what form of government it is. I think the
average person doesn't.
I think they think the mayor runs the city. Right. He has control over everything, which is the complete opposite of what it is, and probably what it should be. Not that one person should have control over how everything works, but being a legislator, and an administrator is very difficult.
It's very difficult on the employees.
Yes.
Can you imagine if you got a new boss every 2 years?
I know.
And you're just getting used to one boss, and then somebody else comes in, and often they're not professionals. You know, I mean, they're political people.
They're right.
And you get in there and you start changing things,
I like John Frank's thing, and John was against charter change, but he didn't like the commission form. I mean, he worked well in it when he was in office, but he said you either have to be independently wealthy, or you have to own your own business, or you have to be retired to really put in the full-time hours that it takes, and you get 14,500. I'm going to say that amount. I don't know if it's changed, but
we're talking about that.
Okay, because I know when my father was a councilman in Gloversville back in the 80s. I mean, I think council people back then got $12,000. So, I mean, you're really doing a job of, as a legislator and a department head, and I don't know. I think, not that I'm fond of the person. I think she does a good job as finance commissioner. Don't get me wrong, and she's a really neat professor up here at Skidmore. She's a nice person.
Yeah.
But I think she's found out that one of the things she said was she can't put the time in.
Right.
Having a job, put the time in as a city official to what she wants to do, and I think that is indicative of getting a good person that in a political office in Saratoga. You can't do it if you have a full-time job.
I think that the key to having it work are the deputies. Now, a lot of times the deputies are also political appointments.
Right.
And we don't have many requirements for the deputies, but the way that I'm approached this, I brought Joanne Kernan in, who is a CPA, incredibly efficient.
Yes.
Just a terrific, hardworking, professional person.
Oh, sure.
It makes a huge difference. If we did that consistently and had requirements for the, it's like we have 5 city managers in a way.
Oh, definitely, I know it.
And if the politics would allow them to just work independently to work for the city, I often have this conversation with Joanne Kernan, my deputy. She's kind of the chief of staff,
Mm-hmm.
and she is the one that does the work.
Oh yeah, deputies run the departments.
Yeah, they should. They don't a lot of times, and it becomes. But if you could make that separation where the elected person is doing the politics,
just legislating
and doing that sort
listening
of stuff,
to their constituents,
and the deputy were professional and allowed to work together, it could be a lot better.
Yeah,
it could be.
Scrap this form of government. Whatever you do, there. I'll tell you what. There is no improving this form of government. I don't care. Because everything is, it's just, I don't know. That's my feeling.
No, I know. I mean, I'm not unsympathetic to that.
No, I know you're not. I know. We've talked a lot about it, and I mean, I was on several commissions, 2 appointed by mayors and 2 citizen-based. And, I mean, one time we were very lucky and lost only by 10 votes. And then when Meg Kelly tried to tune the charter that we have now, it lost by the biggest margin.
Yeah, I know. People are just sick of talking about it.
They're sick of talking about it, and I think they're sick of talking about it. And it's what frustrates me is because they don't know what they're talking about. They don't understand it. They don't understand.
Anybody who gets inside understands.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When you get inside, and that's how I got. I mean, I got involved with a city department, and then when I found out how it was, very early on when I moved up here, that's
a long conversation we're starting here.
Long conversation, yeah, never-ending story. They made a movie, that never-ending story. So, what do you want to end up with? You're running again.
Yeah, I'm running. Basically, we have a good start at consolidating the data, bringing better automation into the system that will, just bring everything closer to the community, and that's what I want to continue to do.
Yeah, and your
it'll take another couple of years to get it done.
Oh yeah. And your door is always open.
My door is always open. People are surprised by that.
I know it.
Yeah.
It's that's one of the good things about this form, that you can always, if you want to talk to the mayor, you can go down to City Hall.
You should be able to, right?
Yeah. Well, John, hey, I appreciate you coming in again. Right. It's always good to see you.
I'm glad to be here.
Every time I see you, you get younger looking too.
Oh, really?
Well, that's what the hell it is. Yeah.
I'm glad for that.
I know it, really. All right, I appreciate it. Okay.
Okay.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Okay.
You
Thanks,
too.
John.